Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Sorry we're a little late getting started, but we are now live and we're happy to see you. We have this lovely, hello, Sahar. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. It's nice to see you. We
Nice
made
to see
it and
you.
we are live and in person here. Let's start off with a delightful idiom, seeing as our focus today is talking about idioms.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, as we can see, I wrote there, wake up and smell the coffee. Sahar, have you woken up and smelt the coffee?
I've woken up with the smell of tea,
Ooh, really? What type of tea?
green tea or
Oh,
black
nice.
tea.
Mm,
Yes, black tea is my favorite, but also
nice.
coffee. Yeah.
Do you add sugar and tea and honey or?
No, just plain tea. It's the best.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I'm having my fennel tea this morning, which I
Yeah.
love. But so this is an idiom. So we start off right away with idioms, seeing as our focus is all about idioms. So wake
Mm-hmm.
up and smell the coffee.
Yeah.
Is an interesting one because it can be literal, but as idioms are so cool, it can also be like telling someone to wake up and realize what is happening, right?
Yes.
Realizing the situation that we're in, right? So, for
Exactly.
anyone joining us, we invite you all to share your name, what city you're in, and do you like food? Why? So I'm Monique from Los Angeles, California. And yes, I like food. And you?
I'm Sahar from San Francisco and Iran. And yes, I also I don't like food, I love food.
Do you really? And
Yes.
why?
Because I like I don't know, the culture, the meaning that it has behind it. It's it's incredible how we started by being, just a average Homo sapiens like Homo neanderthalis and eating meat from like
Yeah.
basically being able to create such cuisine.
Yeah. I saw a really cool video yesterday about how from grain that grows, you can make
Yeah.
flour. There's this really cool video about
Hmm.
a guy who basically lives in the countryside and he
Yeah.
takes a big bunch of grain. So you know the grain with the little like not
Yeah.
flowers but grain.
Mhm.
And then he does this whole process. It's really cool. He said this is really not practical and there's machinery that does this. But
Yeah.
just to show the process, so he takes out the grains, like the little grain berries they're called,
Yeah.
and then smushes them and then puts them through a mill, which like crushes the grain, and then
Yeah.
flour comes out. Really cool.
Imagine like in the past when there weren't these machines
Incredible,
and they
no?
were just trying to make bread.
Incredible, exactly. I mean, bread, we take it for granted nowadays, right? It's just you
Hmm.
just go to the bakery and buy bread or at the
Exactly.
supermarket. But really, bread was it was and is something incredible that we're able to that's how did someone think about smushing the grain, right? Like
Yeah, I also sometimes think about it. It's like, how did it even come to mind?
exactly,
How
right? And
long did it take?
like, for example, olives, it's very interesting because olives haven't always been eaten, right? Because
Uh-huh.
if you go to an olive tree and take an olive off, you can't eat it, right? It's too hard.
Yeah.
It's not edible, right?
Hmm.
But
It's the
the
ones that they
legend,
use for the oil.
yeah, but legend says that in the Greek Empire, so in Greek times, so what, like 3,000 years ago, they had amphoras, the vases filled with olives that they were
Yeah.
transporting, and they had it on the beach, and the amphoras have a point here, so you put it in the sand. Basically, one fell over and soaked in the water, and then so this is the amazing part. Somehow, somebody picked one up and put it in their mouth and went, "Oh wow, this is really
I
good."
mean,
And
it's
so,
so good.
thanks to that one person who tried this olive soaked in water, then all of a sudden it became the culture of the Mediterranean to eat
Yeah.
olives, right? Isn't that so cool?
It's so amazing how
It's
it like
amazing.
that's why I just like through food you can so know so much about the history of a country so much about even the just the society, the
Totally.
so yeah, I don't remember the word that we sociology
Yes.
of the country.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
For
And I've been,
example, Iranian food takes so long to cook because like at that time and even some parts of the country now, women don't work. Only the men go to work. So they have a
uh-huh.
lot of times like when my mom wants to make Persian food, she has to like start prepping it at 10:30.
That's
So it's
beautiful.
ready at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he has to
So
like stay
cool.
there.
Sure, yeah. And I mean, in Jewish cuisine, also in Jewish food, there's also that leaving it for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a
So
lot of
interesting.
stews?
Yes, so many stews, so
Yeah,
many
same.
stews. Yeah, it's interesting too because, like on Shabbat, which is between Friday night and Saturday night, you don't light any lights. You don't turn on lights. I mean, I'm not religious, but the tradition
Mm-hmm.
says, right? So you don't light the flame either. So you don't create a fire. So
Uh-huh.
that's why also stews are very popular because then you can make a stew. And
Yeah.
if someone's watching and doesn't know, stews are generally a lot of food soaked in water. You make it's like a soup, right? And it lasts for a
Exactly.
very long time.
Yeah, but it's much
So
heavier.
it's much heavier. Usually has
Mhm.
meat, potatoes,
Yeah.
vegetables. So stews are very popular because then you don't need to warm it up again. It stays good for a couple of days and you don't have to light the flame, right?
Yeah.
But
Oh, I
so
didn't know that. So every
yeah,
week between Friday night and Saturday morning, you don't, if you're religious,
Friday
you
night
don't
and Saturday night.
on Saturday night.
Yeah, yeah, we were talking about calendars, right, in
Yeah,
another
yeah.
webinar, and basically the Jewish calendar or the week starts, well, each day starts when the first three stars are in the sky. So in
Mm-hmm.
the evening, that's the start of the day. So all
Yeah.
the festivities in Judaism start in the evening and go till the next evening. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
span of one day. I don't know what it is in the Persian calendar. Does the day start?
The week starts on Saturday, but I
Oh, how
don't
interesting.
think we have that. Just like we know that it starts on Saturday and
Yeah.
Friday is our Sunday.
Yeah, that's cool. So the
Mhm.
weekend is Thursday and Friday?
Yeah, basically. So you know how some people work anyway Saturday but usually no one works on Sunday. That's the same thing. So
Yeah.
Thursday, some people work, some people don't. But Friday is the official like uh vacation day.
Yeah,
Holiday.
interesting. And in Israel, the week
Weekend.
starts on Sunday.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, Sunday. And in fact, I mean, Sunday is the first day of the week.
Yes, yes.
And so the same thing. Friday, sometimes someone will work, but some people, and then Saturday is the Sunday. It's like Saturday is no one works. That's the day
Mhm.
off, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's super interesting. So we see our focus today is food for thought.
Yeah.
What is food for thought? What does that
Thinking
mean?
about food.
Yeah, exactly. So it can be literally, right? A lot of times with idioms, they can be both literal
They
and
could, yeah.
non-literal. So it can literally be like, I'm thinking about this apple and eating it after the webinar. That's food for
Mhm.
thought. Or something really fascinating that we're pondering can be also food for thought. So, Sahar, you told me about that interesting bread that you eat in the north of Iran. For me, that's also food for thought. So I go, I wonder what that bread's made with. I wonder if I could make that bread, right? Something that makes you think and
Think,
reflect.
exactly. So
Yeah,
not necessarily about food.
exactly. Could be
Mhm.
about anything. So let's dive in and check out the objectives of this lovely
I
focus.
don't think it's moving.
What's that?
It's not. Oh, okay. Never
Yeah.
mind. I thought you were
No
changing.
worries. No, no, no. I was just looking for the slides here. So also, if anyone's joining us, welcome and feel free to write anything in the comments. You can write your name, where you're from. Do you like food? How are
Why?
you? How is life? Why do you like food? Etc. So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Sahar, can you read our objectives.
Yes, in this focus activity, learning common food idioms, guessing the meaning of expressions, practicing using new expressions.
Yes, and we see a boy eating
Pizza.
a slice of pizza. Doesn't look like a fantastic slice of pizza,
No,
but he looks quite happy, doesn't he?
he looks quite happy. I mean, good for him. But
Exactly. He has no shirt on and is enjoying a lovely slice of pizza. Okay.
yeah,
All right. Fantastic. So, Sahar, can you think of any idioms? Anything that comes off the top of your head?
I think like one of the idioms that I really like the most is spelling the bean. Spelling.
Spelling the beans.
Spelling the beans.
Beans. Yeah, I'll put it in the comments. Why do you like spilling the beans?
I don't know. It's kind of nice to see. I don't know. I have some relationship like with words that if I see them and I think they're very, and some letters look good with some other letters.
I agree.
Yeah. So
The two L's. Yeah.
it gives me something like, wow, it's so beautiful. Like literally, it's so beautiful. But also
agree.
because I spell the beans a lot.
You do?
Yeah, but not with everyone, just with my mom.
How do you mean?
If someone tells me a secret, I tell them beforehand that like don't, because my mom will also know.
Oh, I see. So you
Yeah.
spill the beans, meaning if I tell you a secret and say don't tell anyone,
Yeah.
you'll tell your mom.
At least my mom.
Why?
I don't know, because if it's something that really touches me, so for example, a friend that is not feeling well, a friend that has a problem, my mom is the best person to go to
Wow, really?
ask for like advice.
So you're close with your mom.
Yeah. I love the advice she gives.
Wow, that's right here. Sahar is close with her mom. In case someone doesn't know this, saying she's close with her mom. I'm also close with my mom. Yeah, that's really nice. I spoke to her yesterday, but I don't really spill the beans. In fact, I kind of associate spilling the beans with, I guess it's not gossip, but I sort of associate it with talking in the third person, which of course we're English teachers, so it's important to know how to speak in the third person. But
Yeah.
I try to kind of avoid, I just noticed that, I mean, I'm from Los Angeles, right? And kind of it's the entertainment capital, right? And it's one of the entertainment capital. So there's a lot of talking in the third person, and there's a lot of people spilling the beans about other people. So I kind of grew up in a context of
Gossiping.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's talking about everyone else, and kind of there's no secrets, which I don't know. I'm not such a fan of that. So I myself tend to not. Granted, probably people don't tell me many secrets anyway, so I don't even have the opportunity to spill the beans.
Yeah.
I do, however, I really like the imagery of this idiom.
Yeah.
The idea that you pass me a can of beans and you say, Monique, hold on to these beans. They're very important.
Exactly.
And then I go, oh no, I forget that they're on the table and they fall over. And it's like Sahar's sacred beans are now spilled all over the floor, right?
Yeah, like this is your interpretation. Like I love also the way people interpret these idioms, because for my interpretation, like spilling the beans, yes, it's telling other people's secrets, but I would have seen it more of an accident. Like,
oh, interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and another thing that is actually interesting, talking about gossiping, there is this Jewish historian called Yuval Harari. Harari, I have no idea how I pronounce it. And
Harari, I see.
Harari, yeah. And he wrote a book, Sapiens, talking about basically the history of our kind, of our species. And he said that maybe gossiping is the reason why we speak now, why we developed speech in the
How do you mean?
Like people living in those times wanted to communicate to each other, saying, "Did you see what that person did there?"
Wow.
So they had to like develop it.
That's super
That's
interesting.
so interesting. I definitely recommend that book.
Yeah, I'll check him out. Yuval Harari. Very
Mhm.
cool. Another idiom that I like is this
Mhm.
one. I'll write it here. I think it's just so funny.
Oh, happy as a clam.
Isn't it delightful? Because why is a clam happy? It's just so random that I think it's so fun. Happy as a clam. I
Oh,
think it's great. I use it sometimes. It
yeah,
makes
well,
me
yeah.
happy.
Why a clam?
So funny, huh? Happy as a clam. It's just delightful though. But
Mhm.
so let's dive in and see what our focus has in store for us. Aha! Look at that. What is your favorite recipe, Sar?
Oh,
Or
so many.
do you have a favorite? If you had to, let's say, what is one of your favorite recipes? And if anyone's tuning in, please tell us what is your favorite or one of your favorite recipes.
This is kind of difficult because I have so many recipes that I love, but I must say, like, I am very connected to my country.
Hmm.
And one of the foods that I'm actually starting to improve at making, because, as I said, Iranian food is not a cup of tea. Sorry, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry. It's not a piece of cake. I
it's
made a
okay. It's
mistake.
not a cup of tea. It's
Uh,
not a piece of cake. It's all good. I
it's not
totally
a piece
get
of
you.
cake.
Yeah.
Um, and it's called lubia polo.
How do you spell it? I'll put it in the comments
It's
here.
exactly how you say it.
Lubia,
Hmm.
lubia polo.
Yes,
So Lubyapolo.
exactly.
And this is what? A Persian
Dish.
dish.
It's
Okay. What is
basically.
lubia palo?
Oh, with
Lubia,
I, not with J, but it's fine. It's fine. Um,
lubia polo. A Persian dish. And what is lubia polo?
it's basically green beans with rice and meat.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, like, it sounds easy, but it's actually not, because you have to be careful of 10,000 things at the same time.
Uh-huh.
You have to cook the green beans in a different in a oh god
So green
in a
beans,
different place.
rice, and meat. Okay, in a different
Yeah, in
container.
a different
A
container,
pot,
and then the
yeah.
rice in another, but not that much. It has to be like half the time, because then when the green beans are ready, and also in the same time, in the same time, there's also the meat. You
Uh-huh.
have to put them together and let it rest, even then
Wow.
having the stove on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's cool. Do
it's
you add
tastier than I
saffron?
just explained.
What's
Sorry,
that?
it's tastier than I just explained. But
Oh, that's cool. Do you add saffron?
oh, we add saffron everywhere.
Is saffron expensive in Iran?
No,
It's because it's common.
yeah, it's very common. It's
Yeah, because
impossible.
here it's quite expensive, no?
Yeah, no, here
In the
it's very
States too.
expensive.
Yeah.
We
So
always bring it from Iran when we arrive.
sure. I can
Yeah.
imagine. You must
And
bring
we
back.
also add a lot of turmeric.
Yeah. So if anyone, I'll write it here in the comments because it's not always easy to know. Turmeric, which I think the scientific word is something like curcuma, so similar to Italian. Turmeric or turmeric. Sometimes people pronounce it without the R.
Mhm.
Turmeric is fantastic. It's so healthy for us. It's really, really a good antioxidant, a good
Mhm.
antibiotic. I use turmeric a lot. I used ground turmeric though,
Mhm.
because I found, you know what? I found the root in the supermarket yesterday morning and it came from, gosh, I can't remember, but it caught my attention, the place it came from. But now I can't remember. Anyways, they were selling raw turmeric, right? So, and it's
Yeah.
raw, but it stains your finger. Have you used raw
Yeah,
turmeric?
yeah.
It
Turmeric
really
saves
stains everything.
everything.
Everything becomes this bright
It's like
orange
beef.
color. Exactly. It's like beets, but probably worse than beets
Mm.
because it really stains. Like, since we use turmeric a lot at home, using the powder, like you can see on the pans that there's always this like
Yeah,
orange glow from
yeah,
the
yeah,
turmeric.
same.
But I use it all the
But
time.
it
Yeah.
gives the kind of color to the food.
It
That
does.
and then saffron, yeah. God,
Color,
you already made me hungry for lunch.
yeah, exactly, right. Saffron and yeah, and turmeric, yeah, good flavors.
And what's
So
your favorite recipe?
it's a good question because I would say I love cooking vegetables, right? And I recently
Mhm.
cooked my first quiche. So I'm sort of like fixated on this quiche thing right now,
Yeah.
trying to make them more tasty. I don't really eat so many dairy products, right? So I don't really eat
Okay.
cheese. I really like cheese, but I don't really eat it. So
I was
with
gonna say, why don't you add spinach and ricotta, which makes it
exactly,
amazing. I've
exactly. And
tried that.
it's interesting. I'm not allergic to cheese. I just don't eat very much cheese. I tend to have like sinus issues, so without cheese, my sinuses are better off.
Okay, okay.
So without cheese, though, making a quiche and making it delicious is not easy, right? So I've been really exploring and experimenting with that. I like to make matzah brei. This is a Yiddish. It's like a traditional Yiddish thing. Let's say a traditional Yiddish dish. So for anyone who might not know what Yiddish is, it means Ashkenazi Jewish tradition. So in the Judaism, there's two factors, right? Ashkenazi from Eastern Europe and Russia,
Mhm.
Sephardic from North Africa and the Mediterranean. So in my family, where I'm half half because my mom is Ashkenazi and my dad is Sephardic. This is an Ashkenazi tradition. In the Ashkenazi culture, the language, like the main vernacular, the main colloquial language is Yiddish, right?
Yeah.
It definitely was in the past very, very, very commonly spoken. So if you take Jews in Russia 100 years ago, they were speaking Yiddish as their main language and Russian as their second language, right? Yiddish is still spoken, but a bit less just because of the world wars and because of history. And now I would say probably Hebrew is much more commonly spoken than Yiddish. But Yiddish is a really cool language and it's really funny. It's very
Mhm.
funny. It's very much like my grandmother spoke quite a bit of Yiddish, and it's a really great language for complaining. So an example would be oy vey. Some words have come into, especially American English, right? There's a lot of words like to kvetch means to complain. So you
Uh-huh.
kvetch about things. So Yiddish words are used in English, which is
No
cool.
way.
But anyway, so matzah brei is
Uh-huh.
basically scrambled eggs with matzah. So matzah is unleavened bread. It's flat. It's sold in Italy too. It's not that common, right? But it is
Uh-huh.
eaten in Italy as well. So you basically take the matzah and soak it in water. And
Yeah.
then when you're about to start making the scrambled eggs, you mix the eggs and the matzah together. Then,
Yes.
then usually I'll put in a frying pan like olive oil with onion and carrot and maybe some zucchini and let that cook. And then I'll add the batter, like the mix of the eggs and the matzah
Mm-hmm.
together in the frying pan, and then make scrambled eggs with matzah, which is called matzah brei.
Mm-hmm. That's
So I would say,
interesting. I
yeah,
was
it's
just looking at the pictures actually.
oh, you found it. That's so
Yeah.
great.
Is it used for breakfast, lunch,
Yes, it's
dinner?
usually for breakfast.
Yeah, because like
So
I saw the pictures like
it
with honey or maple syrup
Some
even.
people put sugar. I usually make it more savory. I put salt, but
Uh-huh.
it's nice. So when I see, I have it. I'm planning on visiting my mom in August.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, it will happen. And so when I visit with my mom, we'll always make matzah brei at least once or
Oh,
twice for breakfast. It's a tradition, you know.
that's
So
so
it's
cute.
delicious. Yeah, and I have matzah at home too. So I sometimes make it here, not as frequently though, because matzah is much more affordable in the States, right? Matzah is
Yeah.
like it's bread, whereas here it's like a kind of specialty item,
Have
you
you
know.
ever tried making it?
No, no, but my ex made it once, which I could not believe. I was really
Mm.
amazed. I thought about it the other day because now that we have a lot of time at home and a lot of time to cook,
It could be a
I've
good
been
idea.
thinking, what else could I make? Yesterday at the supermarket, I bought barley for the first time to try to make it, but yeah. So let's see what else we have in our lovely focus here. Sahar, can you read?
In English, there are many expressions and colloquialisms relating to food.
Exactly. So, for example, the first one, that exam was a piece of cake. I'm 99% sure I aced it.
And that's what I meant.
Yeah, exactly. Aced it meaning I got an A.
Great.
So aced it is I aced it, meaning
You did
I
great.
got an A. So in the US, the grading is generally A, B, C, which are passing. Then you have D, which is not passing, and F, which is failing, and there is no E. So I aced it means I got an A. I did really well. And the next one,
And
Sahar?
then, no thanks, I don't think I'll come with you to the cinema. Romantic comedies aren't my cup of tea.
That's the same for me. I agree. Romantic comedies aren't
You
my
don't
cup
like
of tea.
rom-coms?
Rom-coms, is that what they're called?
Yeah, romantic comedies.
I never heard that. No, I'm
Really?
not a film aficionado, so I'm not a, no, okay,
I'm gonna have to read that.
if you
Yeah.
invited me to a rom-com, I would probably come because it's fun to go with friends to the movies, to the cinema. But
You wouldn't enjoy it.
I would not say that it's my cup of tea. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, instead for me, yes, I really like rom-coms, but it's just because I also love thrillers a lot.
Really?
I love thrillers. And so you just, to cool down a little bit.
Sure.
Like the
Yeah.
pause in the middle.
No.
Otherwise, there's always this tension that there's
Sure.
someone in the house.
Yeah, I can't watch thrillers. I
At all?
actually can't. Yeah, it's so in this case, not only are thrillers not my cup of tea, but thrillers are actually films that I can't watch. Like it's really not advised because I don't know why, but I'm sensitive to thrillers.
Yeah.
It really affects me, and I tend to, for example, if I watch a scary movie at night or a thriller at night and then go right to sleep, I will almost certainly take that into my dream and have like a psychological thriller dream.
Oh, I know.
I don't want that. I want to have fun dreams. Last night I dreamt that there was this famous Argentinian musician that was in Buenos Aires on the street selling, no, not on the street, in this little shop, and he was selling crepes, which are not an Argentinian food. He was selling this French food, but with dulce de leche inside them, right? Like so caramel crepes on the street. And I was really surprised, and I was like, hey, Gustavo, how are you? So we talked and stuff, and it was very random.
It was actually very, nice.
It was funny. This morning I wrote to my Argentinian friends and I told them, and I said, this is so random.
Yeah, it's incredible how dreams actually like tell you what your unconscious what your unconscious part of the brain actually tells you.
Totally, or your subconscious.
But I have the same. Yeah, so sorry, subconscious.
Yeah.
I have the same feeling towards horror movies. That I just can't absolutely watch them because I don't know. For me, it's completely different. Thriller, it's like, oh, who's the serial killer? Who's the killer? That kind of stuff.
Oh, interesting. So you can watch a thriller. So you like thrillers, but not horror films.
Oh my God. If I watch a horror film, I cannot sleep.
Okay. But what about, do you remember the film Misery?
No.
Okay. I guess, it was a psychological thriller. You might appreciate the film. It came out a long time ago, but it was really, really, really well made. Like that film I really liked, but I watched it during the day. But if you get a chance to watch it, it's quite interesting of a film. So let's take a look at some food idioms in here. Well, actually, why do you think there's so many food idioms?
Well, people like food.
Food for thought. Why? Yeah, exactly. People like food. And
I just feel as though, like, if there was a war, the if there ever is going to be a war, the only thing that it's gonna save us is just like food. Like,
Food
hey,
is a
would you like
big
some
thing,
food?
right? Like, yeah, it's a big thing even now. I think it's helping us get through this pandemic, right?
Mhm.
You know, I mean, get through in the sense of us that are at home. Exploring cooking is a great thing to do now, right? You said you made bread yesterday, right?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
made quiche. Yesterday morning, I made banana pancakes for the first time because our colleague
Ooh.
Jenna had spoken about them in a webinar. So I went,
Yeah.
oh, well, that's interesting. I'll try that. So let's look at just a couple of these idioms. So we saw cup of tea before.
Yeah.
It's not my cup of tea, meaning I'm not so into it.
Yeah, I
It's a
don't really
very,
enjoy it.
yeah, it's a polite and soft way of saying I'm not into it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very friendly and it's very fun. It's a way of using an idiom. Idioms are nice because it's not. So if Sahar says, "Would you like to come to the movies to see a romantic comedy?"
Mhm.
So I can say, "No, I don't like romantic comedies," or I can
And I
say,
get very offended.
yeah, exactly. Or I could say, look, Sahar, thank you so much, but it's not my cup of tea. Meaning,
Mhm.
I would like to go with you, but I don't really like romantic comedies, right?
Yeah.
It's a really delightful way of using language, right?
Mhm.
It's poetic, it's fun, it's creative, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's check out these other ones. Sahar, can you read the first one of this new bunch?
To cry over spilled milk.
Yeah. Do you ever cry over spilt milk?
I started not to be honest.
Okay, that's good.
No, because I am the kind of person who always like regrets, not regrets, but it's like kind of embarrassed maybe for something they did in the
Uh-huh.
past. It's like, oh God, that was embarrassing. But now just like thinking, now I've changed completely, and I see, okay, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be here, and I'm happy
Yeah,
here.
yeah, that's
So
very wise. Yeah,
mhm.
totally. The next one we've spoken of, spill the beans. So, meaning to share someone else's secrets, right? To
Mhm.
spill the beans.
Yeah.
I try not to spill the beans. I like to eat beans, though, legumes. They have a lot of protein. So, let's see
Yeah,
the
I
next
like
one.
green beans.
You like green beans?
Apple,
I love
yeah.
green beans. Yeah. We
Apple
also,
of someone's eye.
here's the apple.
Oh, this is so cute.
Yeah. Apple of someone's eye.
It's like whenever I see this idiom, reminds me of like, the father that looks at the daughter in a very, like, oh my God, this is my
Yeah,
daughter way.
very sweet. So I could look at this apple too if we want it literally. This apple is the apple of my eye. I cannot wait to eat it after this webinar. It's just beautiful, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, something you cherish, something you really you care for,
Mhm.
you nurture, right?
Yeah.
Apple of someone's
Like
eye.
I just like whenever I see this, I can imagine someone's look at someone else's and just like this, nothing about romantic in a relationship way, but just like they really, really love that person for who they are.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You admire, you care for.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the last one, what about the last one?
The last one, a tough nut to crack.
Are you a tough nut to crack?
No, quite
No,
not.
really?
I'm very easygoing, actually.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know, it's hard. Sometimes I can be a tough nut to crack sometimes, maybe
Mm,
not easy to convince about things,
yeah.
right? So we can also use this if someone is just very stubborn, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
Technically, because of my zodiac sign, I should be very stubborn, but
what is
I'm
your
like,
zodiac sign?
I'm Cancer.
Oh, okay. So is that a water sign?
It's a water sign, and
Oh,
it's
very
the
nice.
most stubborn of the water sign. But anyway, I'm just like, no, it's okay. You tell me, like, I want to hear what you think. Like,
That's
I
lovely.
genuinely know what the
Yeah.
other person is talking about. It depends, like, if they're giving me advice about maybe a way to do something,
Mhm.
or like more ideological way. If it's about history, for example, I'm very,
Yeah.
very like strict.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. But you study history, right?
I studied political sciences,
Mm-hmm.
so also
Oh, that's right.
politics.
You graduated, huh?
I graduated.
Congratulations,
Yay!
yoo-hoo.
I
So
haven't
you,
posted the pictures yet, so it's not official. But
well, I mean, but it's official in that it happened, right?
yeah, yeah.
So I will write as our closing thing, we are happy as a clam for Sahar. So we'll use an idiom using food here to say we
Yay!
are happy as a clam for Sahar. So congratulations,
Thank
Sahar.
you,
That's
thank
lovely.
you.
Let's remind everyone who's watching now or who will be watching later that there is a Facebook group called Mayas SOS that can always be accessed at any time of day. Students can ask questions or continue
Help.
studying English if they need help, if you need anything. So we want to thank you very much for this lovely webinar. Sorry that it was a bit shorter than our standard webinars, but know that in 10 minutes, there will be another fantastic Mayas webinar starting. So Sahar, I thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank you to
Mimi.
everyone. Please use these fantastic food idioms and have a lovely mid-morning snack. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank
Bye
you.
bye, guys.
Bye,
Bye
Sahar.
bye.
Cheers. Bye.